as we speak, there is a growing anxiety on the far left that the Colorado Supreme Court did indeed step in it. Case in point, if you can believe it, the ultra-leftists at the Washington Post, democracy dies in darkness. The ultra-leftists at the Washington Post, the editorial board, which normally shills for anything and everything woke, has actually publicly come out. I kid you not. They have publicly come out against the Colorado ruling. They're doing what MSNBC doesn't have the fortitude to do. They are recognizing the travesty, the utter and complete travesty of this decision. The Washington Post. Truth is often stranger than fiction. The editorial board of the Washington Post has just openly admitted that the Colorado Supreme Court's decision is predicated on two flawed, unfounded points. And you know them. Nobody, I mean, as if we needed the editorial board of the Washington Post to tell us this. We all know this, but it's very simple. You could use this for if you have to chat with your woke friends and family during the Christmas season. But there are two flawed premises upon which this decision is based. One, Trump actually participated in an insurrection. That, of course, is bunk. We know that from an FBI investigation. You can look it up, Google it all you want. An FBI investigation that concluded that there was no insurrection. This was not an armed attempt at overthrowing the government. Okay? That, according to an investigation by the FBI, no friend of the MAGA movement. So the first premise is that Trump participated in an insurrection, resurrection. We'll be talking about that in a couple of minutes. Insurrection. And two, that the 14th Amendment bars an insurrectionist from the 14th Amendment barring an insurrectionist from office applies to the office of the presidency. In other words, the assumption there is that the 14th Amendment bypasses, it circumvents the carefully articulated constitutional impeachment process whereby a person is barred from presidential office. The double premise, the twofold premise of this Colorado Supreme Court's decision, even the Washington Post admits, is total and complete bunk. It's bunk for everyone to see. And it thus renders the decision not merely invalid, it renders the decision patently and politically absurd. But first, how many UFC fans do we have out there? We know that the one and only Donald Trump is a huge UFC fan, as are the fighters of him. But have you ever wondered what they do to manage their pain? Well, you don't have to, because a fellow patriot and good friend to this channel is precisely the one who provides relief to that pain, and he's here to do the same for you. You know, gang, as we age, aches and pains we think of are normal, but they don't have to be. And that's where the groundbreaking medical scientist Cant Win comes in. You've seen Clint on Fox. You've seen him on this channel. He's a world-renowned health expert who's unveiled a natural pain reliever that's taking the world by storm. It's called CB2. It's the 100% drug-free way to get full-body pain relief without dangerous meds, and it's the official pain reliever for the fighters in the UFC. And the best news, CB2 has no documented side effects after years of private testing. It's absolutely the future of relief. So whatever you do, make sure to click on that link below and check out Clint's amazingly informative report on how CB2 is changing lives by providing safe and powerful relief at a fraction of the cost of pain pills. Click on that link below right now. Again, gang, this isn't Steve Bannon saying this, right? This isn't Jack Posobiec saying this. This isn't Marjorie Taylor Greene saying this. Is the freaking editorial board of the Washington Post. But they're admitting something even more than just how pernicious and vile this so-called judicial decision is. They're admitting more. Let's be blunt. They're admitting that Biden can't win. The tacit admission in all of this, whether you're a part of the ever-shrinking freak show like MSNBC that supports this Colorado and champions this Colorado ruling, or whether you're a part of the growing consensus calling out its absurdity, there is the tacit admission that Biden simply cannot win. We talked about this yesterday. Even the far left site, slate.com, is openly admitting that Biden's campaign is over. I mean, look at this headline. I mean, there's I mean, look at that's a left-wing site, people. That's a far left site. There is no precedent for how bad Biden's poll numbers are right now. And the byline reads, it's even worse than it looks. There is no precedent. There is no historical precedent for how bad things are for Biden. And it's even worse than that. And they make, again, a twofold argument here. Again, you could share this with friends and family who are still a little stuck in their woke ways over the Christmas holidays. Always be whimsical, always smile. We're winning. So just sit back, enjoy. If they get a little frenzied, cut them another piece of, trifle. I like trifle. I'm British. Pumpkin pie, whatever it is that you have, serve it. They make a twofold argument here. First, they point out that the RCP average, right? We talked about this yesterday, the Real Clear Politics polling average, which aggregates all the various polls out there, is currently showing President Trump with the largest lead he has ever had in his entire political career, and it keeps growing. The RCP average has Trump leading Biden by nearly 4 points. When you put in Bobby Kennedy and the other candidates, his jump leads to over 5 points, nearly 6. So what the liberals over at slate.com recognize is that we have never seen this before. Trump has never, ever led the RCP average, either nationally or in swing states, either against Biden or against Hillary, ever. But then it gets worse. Again, this is all according to the far left side. Biden's poll numbers, they found, are perhaps the single worst of any incumbent since the polling era began in the 1930s. And that's because Biden's net negatives are unlike anything we have ever seen. So a net negative is the percentage of voters who disapprove of you more than approve, right? So if 55% disapprove, 45% approve, that's a minus 10, right? A net 10 negative, a net negative 10. Biden's net negatives are twice that of President Trump. Biden's net negatives are twice that of President Trump. They're in the double digits. In fact, Biden has, according to this article, the worst net negative of any presidential incumbent since polling began nearly 100 years ago. This is why the Colorado court did what they did. This is why Jack Smith is indicting it. Biden can't win, so he has to cheat. Biden can't win, so he has to cheat. He's admitting it. You know, they basically shut down their campaign headquarters in Georgia. I mean, they still officially have a headquarters, but it's basically an empty tent at this point. They have no campaign infrastructure in the state of Georgia. They've given up. Democrat insiders have all said that. They've given up on Georgia. They know they're not going to win. They'll probably lose Georgia by double digits at this point. Biden can't win. He can't win. He's not going to win Arizona. He's losing Arizona. He's not going to win Wisconsin. He's not going to win Michigan. He's not going to win Nevada at this point. Biden can't win. It's over. The lead that Trump has right now, if this sustains, and I would argue because of the economy, Biden's numbers are only going to continue to go down. That's what happens to presidents during either an actual recession or a perceived recession. We've seen it in every single presidential election where a president has experienced, again, either an actual or perceived recession in the last 2 years of their presidency. They don't get reelected. Their poll numbers just go into free fall. And so what we're seeing is that Trump's numbers have exceeded the margins of fraud. There's nothing they can do. That is what they are all admitting. Biden can't win. So they have to cheat. Note two, it's also revealing they don't think they can pull off another 2020. It could be, I don't know why. It could be because many states have cleaned up their voting laws, their mail-in ballot laws, like Arizona and Georgia. Wisconsin has banned ballot harvesting. That's how Biden won, right? The Wisconsin Supreme Court, 2 years after the fact, tossed 200,000 votes as illegitimate because they found that ballot harvesting violated their state constitution. Oh, sorry. It could be because Trump's lead is just way beyond the margin of fraud. It's probably both. Regardless, the anti-democracy Democrats, the autocrats, clearly believe they have to default to a patently corrupt, weaponized legalism to stop what is appearing to be inevitable. When all is said and done, Trump is poised to clinch the Republican nomination with a dominance that we've frankly never seen from any other candidate in history. He's going to win Iowa in a blowout. He's going to win New Hampshire in a blowout. He's poised to win every single primary state in an absolute blowout. It won't even remotely be close. And then he will turn to November in the head-to-head with Biden. And as these desperate attempts by the anti-democracy Democrats prove, no one believes Biden even has a chance of winning at this point. Make no mistake, if they thought they could voter fraud their way out of this, gang, and I'm going to say this to you, to those of you who are just like, but the fraud. If they thought they could voter fraud their way out of this, they wouldn't be reduced to embarrassing themselves in front of the world right now with these ridiculous, legally illiterate acts of desperation. They wouldn't be soiling their own reputations by stooping to this absurdity. If they believed this election was stealable in that fraudulent way, they'd just be sitting around laughing and mocking and ridiculing and impugning Trump like they always do, as the clown they've always treated him to be. The reason why they're doing all of this, the reason why they are stooping to objectively absurd levels is because they got nothing else. Again, we've got to reiterate it here. No one outside of the most brainwashed, venomous, woke leftists like Rachel Maddow, no one believes in the judicial integrity of this Colorado decision. No, not Karl Rove, not the swamp creature John Bolton, not Dean Phillips, who's challenging Biden for the Democrat nomination, not Bill Barr, the former attorney general, as corrupt a swamp creature as you can get. Not one of them, no one is standing by this blatant banana republic antic coming out of the Colorado Supreme Court. Which means something. It means that we really may be seeing the beginning of the end of the establishment's antics. when even members of the establishment don't want to believe in this anymore, when even members of the Politburo no longer stand by the communist propaganda, when the defenders of the order end up questioning that order, the Berlin Wall crumbles. We may be standing at the precipice of our own Berlin Wall imploding. Members of the deep state, the managerial class, the ruling elite, the establishment, it looks like even many of them are becoming disillusioned with this pathetic shit show. Which means that its end may finally be at hand.